What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for checking out today's video. We're back in the garage today with the Corvette. Got a cool modification we're doing today, something I've been wanting to do for a while, actually, since I got the car. And because if you saw my last video about doing the cheap taillight upgrade, the eBay taillights, that helped me save enough money to get the modification, or to get the part that we're going to be installing today. All right, guys, so we got ourselves an MGW short shifter. Picked this up off of Facebook Marketplace. Found a super killer deal. Got this thing for a couple $100. It really looks barely used. All the bushings, I mean, there's a little bit of wear and tear, but it looks virtually brand new. Got all the components here. Obviously, I started taking it apart so that we can install this properly. Got the alignment plate there. So we're gonna get this new shifter installed today. I was eyeing up the Tick Performance shifter, but that thing's like $600. And I'm always checking out Facebook Marketplace, trying to find some good deals. And this popped up. Went and grabbed it, so I'm really excited. MGW is a great brand. That was my second choice, and only second choice because the Tick has really great reviews and people seem to love it, even compared to the MGW. But in any event, MGW has been around a long time. We're going to throw this thing in and see how it does. All right, here's the stock boring shifter. Really nothing to see here. It's been fine for me, but the throws are a little bit long, so hopefully the MGW is a little bit better. And this one also has some extra play. It's definitely worn out, seen some better days, so get this thing swapped out and see how we like the new shifter. All right, getting to this shifter is pretty straightforward. First thing, we just got to take this cover off here. It gives us more room to get this console out of here because this whole thing has to come out. Then we'll pop this cover off. There's a couple screws here. We'll come over here and pop this up, as well as this side piece there, and then get this thing unbolted, disconnected, all the electronics here, and pull this thing out so we can access our shifter. All right, these little armrest screws are T15. Get those out. And next we'll pull down our shift boot here to access the little screw that holds the shift knob on. This one is a T25. All right, now we can pop this center cover off to get to the two little bolts back here. And these guys are 7mm little screws. Take those out. Now we're on the passenger side. You want to pull the e-brake cover up and out of the way. Like that. Now that you have that boot up, you want to take off these screws here. I'm missing one down here, but we'll take the one out that's there. Now what we want to do is pop this piece of paneling off here, and it pops out by pulling down up top there. Helps a little bit if you open the glove box just to get this out. And then it slides out there. All right, now that we have this boot up and this trim piece removed, we can take this and start to gently pull it up and work it out. And again, don't forget you have to disconnect the connections for the traction control, the cigarette lighter there, and then up here for the hazard. And again, if you have the heated seats back here. All right, so once all the plugs are disconnected, you can lift this trim piece up and out carefully. So here's all your connectors. It's kind of hard to film while I'm disconnecting all these things, but most of them are just push tabs. You got these back here, a few up front, and then of course your hazard connection here. The only one that's different is for the traction control. On the button itself, there's like a tab that you need to pry up, and then this pulls out. But just take your time. You'll get it all disconnected, and then you can get that trim piece out. All right, so now this little yellow boot comes out and over the shifter there, and then you have 4 10mm nuts to get this shift boot off, and then we'll have access directly to the shifter. So once those nuts are off, you can take the shift boot off. I can't take mine off completely because I have my wideband running through it, so I'll just pop it up and over. And for now, just leave it hanging there like that. All right, so now we got to loosen these 3 screws here. One that connects the shifter to the linkage, and then 2 that connect the whole shifter box to the torque tube. And it is also worth noting, before you do this, make sure that the shifter is in neutral. Could be using my power tools, but I guess I just feel like being lazy and not getting them. All right, once those are out, this shifter, you kind of tilt it up and pull it forward off the rod, and you have it out. All right, so we have the OEM shifter off. As you can see here, hopefully you can catch it on camera. all that play. Again, this is the shaft that connects to the shift rod that goes back to the transmission, and there's just a ton of play in there. This is really worn out, but we do need to reuse the actual shaft with the MGW. So I got to pop this off. These are for, you can use 10 millimeter. I think they're standard, but 10 millimeter works. Pop this out, and then 2 Phillips screws here to pop this off. We can get that shaft out of there. All right, now that that covers off, we can slide this piece, this whole shift rod out through the front. So this is the only piece you need to transfer over to the new unit. As you see, it's a little bit dirty and marred up a little bit. So I'm going to take some red Scotch-Brite, clean it up, and then we can work on throwing it into the new lower and then get it back in the car. All right, so we have what we need to get this lower box installed. The thing to remember here is even though that this blue plate goes on over these bushings, this is actually going to be in the car like this. And this is the way the shift rod has to be, the short end with the hole up front and this part with the notch towards the back. So essentially we have to put this in, if we're doing assembling it upside down, you're going to put the short end back and the long end front so that when you turn it over, it's correct. So I have this lubricated. We'll slide on the bushings. Put them back into this lower portion. Get this bracket on. And I'm going to throw some Loctite on these, get it tightened down. And that way, when we flip this over, this is the correct way it goes into the car. All right, so another thing to point out, obviously, like I said, I got this unit used. When you get it new, MGW supplies heat shielding that you're supposed to apply all in here. And I wasn't sure at first why, but then I remembered because the bottom of this box is left open. So the seals and everything in here are susceptible to heat damage. The factory one is closed on the bottom. So I would recommend getting some heat shielding to put in here. I'm going to throw this in now just like this, just so I can try it out. And then I might order some down the road. I'm going to keep this console out because I have some repair work that I have to do. I broke the cup holder on it. So I'm going to leave it just like this. So for now, I'm just going to put this in, and then I'll do the heat shielding later. But I would recommend that you apply some to the torque tube. All right, so now we're going to slide this lower unit on. Again, make sure to align the shift rods there because the bolt passes through that, that groove there. So then we'll put our 3 bolts in hand tight, and then we'll get the alignment plate set up to make sure everything's centered up. All right, so now that that is just finger tight, you want to make sure that there's still room here for everything to move around. Now we can take our alignment plate, drop that in here, get everything lined up, put the 2 little screws in here. Then we can start tightening these down. This one gets tightened down first. Make sure this is super, super tight because it only holds here because it pinches together. So tighten this one first and then these 2. All right, so now that we have our lower unit installed and everything's tight, we can go ahead and install our upper unit. So we have this little rubber gasket here, and then this essentially just drops right into here. This little bushing for the shifter goes into the shift rod there. And just make sure on the side these little locking screws on either side are loose before you drop this in. Then you drop this in, tighten these 4 upper here, and then you can snug these up. And just make sure when you're tightening these up, you just do them a little bit at a time. Go side to side. Make sure this thing seats down evenly, and then give it your final torque. All right, so now before we start reassembling everything, just give everything a once over, make sure everything is tight. Make sure the shifter goes into all the gears. And man, this feels so much better than factory. The throw is much shorter, and it's just more precise and just feels a lot more solid going into gear. So can't wait to drive this, get this thing back together, and take it for a test drive. All right, before you reinstall the shift boot, you have to cut the inner part out so it fits over the shifter. So basically just cut it up to this first like bellow or hump here. So just run a razor blade around so that we can slide it back over the shifter. All right, so now basically everything under here is complete. So now you would just do everything in reverse order, slide your console back in, plug in all your connectors here, and then get that side panel back up in here, slide your shift boot down, put your armrest cover back on, and then of course affix your shift knob. But like I said, I have some work to do on my console, so we are going to put the shift knob on for now and take this thing for a ride. So far, I'm obviously noticing a very positive engagement. Really lets you know and feel when you're in that gear, which is a good thing. And the throws are a whole lot shorter. Well, I guess I wouldn't say a whole lot shorter, but definitely noticeably shorter. And it just feels, you know, a lot better. And of course, doesn't have the extra play that the old one had, because the old one is, you know, almost 20 years old. So far, I'm really liking it. And obviously, I'll get it out on the open road soon and really try it out. But for now, I'm liking how this new shifter feels. All right, well, there you have it. The MGW is installed in the Corvette. I love the way it shifts, love the way it feels. Obviously, I just went down the road and back. You know, didn't do any red line shifts or anything like that, but it's much more direct, positive engagement. So far, so good. I really love it, and it is a huge upgrade over stock. I mean, that stock one had so much play, as you saw there in the video. I'm surprised it was shifting as smooth as it was. So I can't wait to get some more miles on the car, obviously get it to the track, see if it makes any difference there. But overall, very, very happy. If you enjoyed the video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really, really appreciate it. And also consider subscribing to the channel. Got a few big things coming up. I'll be having some fun with this car. I also have a great friend coming down from New Jersey, and we're going to be doing a pretty big project on his car, so stay tuned for that. So thanks again for checking out this video. I really appreciate the support. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll see you next time.